Love in America is brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source.
August birthstone is peridot. Its naturally colored olive to lime green is also the 16th anniversary stone.
Ancient Egyptians called it the Gem of Suns and was worn by Cleopatra. To learn more about colored gemstones, follow us on social media.
Only at the Gold and Diamond Source.
Everyone has a story to tell. It's my mission to tell it. Unscripted, unedited. We are on the record.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Sarina Fazan, and we are ready to talk about love in America, with one of the totally coolest couples around. Do you love how I played off your hashtag? Totally cool. Craig Kuhl, Brooke Palmer. Brooke, Craig, you're in insurance, which is, and thank you so much for that. We appreciate it because we all need insurance.
We need insurance, right?
We need insurance. But Brooke has her own business. RSBP, get it? RSBP off of her initials, events. You're an amazing event planner.
Yeah, well, that's what they tell me. I mean, truly, a lot of my business has shifted even during COVID, to doing more PR and public relations. So I'm doing a lot of that for clients in the hospitality business. I just finished my PR degree at Georgetown, my master's. So if y'all need PR out there.
Are you kidding?
No.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
COVID project.
Congratulations on
Thanks,
that.
yeah.
And she just picks, a small school like Georgetown. I mean, no
She was
biggie.
bored for half an hour, so a master's was required.
Figured.
So,
He's another one of my 5 certificates. I'll just continue with the master's. So, yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, that's quite impressive. So is your ring, by the way.
Thank you, Julie and Steve, the Gold Diamond Source, for sponsoring Savina and my good choice in ring.
And we're going to get to how that ring was selected too. It's a great story. But first, I would like to tell you both, wow, you look marvelous.
Him. Well, Bespoken Company dressed him, but we matched.
We're just a walking advertisement for different local businesses. Yeah. So,
you should actually have David and Nicole on. They'd be great for the show.
I would love it. We always ask for people to suggest other people. So for sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what color is this?
His is more of a lilac lavender, and I am wearing hyacinth, as I told you.
Oh, so, yes, hyacinth. Okay, well,
Black Halo, Hoda Kotb's favorite. So if you guys love the Today Show, you'll probably see this jumpsuit on the Today Show too. But.
Yes, I mean, believe me, I have to go out and get one. I love it. So speaking of love, let's talk about love. You guys have been married for 8.5 years. March 15th is their wedding anniversary, but dated. It will be 14 years on August 28th, right? For 14 years.
Correct.
14 years. Okay, so let's get started.
I'll let Craig tell that story.
On how you met. Craig was actually, how long ago, you were married for how many years?
I was married 16 previously.
And I said, how old were you? 10 when you got married?
12, yeah.
Okay, yeah, 12. So, okay, but you were really young when you got married.
Yes.
And so you met Brooke 2 months out of the divorce?
2 to 3 months out, yeah. I was just at a local restaurant bar, 717 on Howard, and a mutual friend said, I was in the wine spirits business at the time. She was an event planner, and a friend said, you guys need to know each other. So he just did a quick intro.
So at this time, though, what are you thinking? Like, there's no way I want to meet anybody, or where's your mindset?
I was still getting out of everything, so it wasn't even like a thought process. Just go out and enjoy life.
And the friend that introduced us, his now ex-wife, but who was my best friend, was in the wine business and was a wine supplier. So she had known him during his married life, and had even said to him, oh, you need to meet some of my single friends. And he was like, no. And then lo and behold, ironically, we met. And Jen was like, wait, you met Craig? So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So when she wanted you to meet him, was she thinking, okay, you guys would be a good fit romantically?
I think she just thought that we'd, be nice to be friends. He was single, I was single. And honestly, when we met, he didn't want to date me, and he'll tell that part of the story. He really didn't. I think I wanted free vodka for Vinny LeCavier's poker tournament, full disclosure, and I just hounded him for it.
Vinny LeCavier, by the way.
Yeah, going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we love him. But so Brooke, though, where were you at when you met him, like emotionally? Were you looking for love?
Oh my gosh.
What was your stage?
Well, I mean, you've known me a long time too. I was perennially single. I think I was dating all the, much older guys, all the wrong guys. I had been dating somebody on and off who lived in Europe, and it had been, I wasn't, at that point, I was 31 years old, I think, when we met. And I was sort of at a place in my life where I was really focusing on building my career, because at that point I really was doing, you know, I had been working in news at that point. I had been doing, you know, the newspaper articles and writing in a magazine and just kind of being out there and really finding my way with events. And so I was sort of saying, well, if this is what my station in life is, maybe I'm not meant to be married and have kids, and that's cool. Like, I can have fun, and I was independently successful, and I felt like I'm good being good. And I think with love and anything else, like, it just, you know, it comes when you're not looking. I don't think I was looking. And ironically, I would say this, and he would say this to me, Dean Akers and I had been really good friends, and we were kind of dating, not really dating, but we both literally the same week both met our spouses.
You are kidding. And you know, Dean's been on our show too, not on A Love in America, but on the record.
And so Dean likes to say that he's the reason that we both found love, that we both, for each other as such good friends, and maybe we didn't work out to be dating, but I think what we did for each other is realize what we wanted in a partner. And we were still great friends. We had breakfast. He sent me a card last week. I mean, I think for us, and for Craig and I, like, maybe Craig wasn't there. And I remember talking to Dean about Craig and Dean talking to me about Michelle. And I think it was like, he was like, you just have to like let it be. You know, Craig's 10 years older than me. He had been married. And honestly, he just wasn't like any guy that I had dated at that point. I mean, I dated a guy who was like the head of the world for Barclays, and another guy had a Ferrari and Aston Martin. It was like, it literally wasn't the right fit, because I don't know what I was looking for. I think I was just looking more for fun, and it wasn't, I wanted somebody to like play with my dog and go to the movies and be normal.
So I have so many questions based on your answer, but I want to ask Craig as he sits here
I mean, I don't know how
and he
normal
listens to like, oh, you know, the guy that, it was so funny that they were both, you know, both dating other people. You don't get jealous or anything at all, right?
Not at all.
I think that's truly why our relationships work too. We're not jealous people at all, ever. I mean, considering what we both do, like he was in the liquor business, I'm in the event business, PR, I'm around professional athletes a lot. I mean, Vinny was my client. Our second date was Vinny's poker tournament. And Vinny walked across the room away from a sponsor over to him and said, hi, I'm Vinny LeCavier. I understand that you are Brooke's date tonight. And I was like, oh my God, like literally eyes rolled back in my head. You can ask him. And you know, here's the biggest hockey player in the world at the time, like admonishing Craig, and I'm like, great, it's like big brother. And I'm a year older than Vinny, but it was funny because at that time, even Vinny said that night, he's like, he's a good one, I can tell.
See, and I did bring up that question because you both are very public, and I know you're working in insurance now, but at that time as well, I mean, you know, celebrities, the who's who of in town, and I think you do need to, in just my humble opinion, I'm not a psychologist or anything, but you do need to have like-minded individuals on that you can't get jealous if someone is really social and,
and
out
I'm
there,
working.
and you're working.
Like, you know, you're in a room with 15 hockey players, you know, Joe Madden. I mean, you've been to all my events with different players, and it's like, yeah, I'm doing an interview with Warren Sapp right now because that's what I'm doing. That's part, you know, that's part of the job. So, I mean, he should just like reap the benefit of it. I mean, we went, when I did the Super Bowl party for Diddy and Winky Wright and Deion Sanders, I mean, he shows up on the red carpet in this like ridiculous outfit, and here I've got like Us Weekly and ESPN. And what is ESPN?
ESPN.com voted me the worst dressed person at a Super Bowl party in 2009.
PR coup.
No.
Yeah.
PR coup.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You are kidding me.
I wanted ESPN to say how great the party was.
Yeah.
That's what they wrote about.
Oh my! And you guys are dating at this time, right?
Yes.
You're not married yet.
No.
You can imagine how thrilled my client was about that part. And the PR guy I was working with at the time, we were both like, wow.
I was trying to fit in with the
Hey, I had a news
theme
director. I had a news director, Bill Barrow, once that said to me, "Any publicity is good publicity."
It is true. Look, as a PR person, as somebody who was a graduate of Georgetown, I can say that it's true. You know, and it's how you manage it. And I looked at it and said, look, more people are still talking about our party. Do you remember any other parties in 09 from the Super Bowl? You don't. Ours still comes up on ESPN.com, so
as the worst dressed.
Worst dressed.
Okay, so we need to get that picture and share it. Okay. So let me ask.
We
though,
have it. I can send it to you. I can email it to you, Sarina.
Please,
sure do.
Please. So let me ask though. So all those years ago, that when you met, and Brooke, I'm going to ask you the same question, even though you did not want to date Craig, when you saw Brooke, were you like, wow, she's pretty hot? or were you not even in that place?
You know, that's a weird question because I should say that, but I don't.
He doesn't.
I mean, because literally she's like wanted to meet me for a donation. So it was kind of like it was a work thing.
Yeah.
And everyone wants free stuff. So I just think it was just like, it wasn't even like
In the radar.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah,
like
and
more people looking for free stuff.
And I didn't see him in, yeah, he was a good looking guy, but I didn't see him as, I wasn't seeing him that way either. Which is interesting because if you looked at like the realm of people I had dated too, I'm like, he just wasn't fitting like that category, if you will. And I don't know, we just didn't really see each other that way.
It was more like a business. She wanted free
I really
vodka.
was so determined to get this vodka for Vinny. But I got the vodka. It was absolute. Thanks. Yep. Thanks, Southern Wine and Spirits.
So
thanks, Big B.
So, okay, so you guys meet each other. Your friend says you should meet him, but you both are like, okay, we're not looking. So how did you finally end up going out on a date? I hear it has something to do with the wager.
Okay, so what happened was she sends me an email and says, hey, I'd like to, talk to you about sponsoring this poker tournament. I ignore it because, again, a million people want free stuff. I see her a couple of weeks later at the Palm, when there was a Palm, and she's like, hey, you haven't responded to my email. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're stuck in my inbox. I've been really busy. So now I feel guilty. She called me out. I'm like, all right, let's meet at the Rack at like 8 o'clock next Monday. So, and in our business.
And the Rack is a local bar.
It was a local bar, yep, in South Tampa.
Owned by a mutual friend of ours.
Okay, all right, okay.
And so we meet at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock or whatever. We have our meeting. I go, okay, I'll sponsor your tournament. And then at the time I go, hey, I am just seeing this girl, nothing serious. She's going to come meet if that's okay. And she's like, yeah, of course.
And I'm like, I was leaving to go to 717 actually to meet my girlfriend. So I was like, no, whatever. I'll leave when she gets here. Cool.
So your
it wasn't a date.
So
It was a business meeting.
A business meeting. And the girl that you're casually dating is going to meet
shows
you.
up, yes.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And then the girl goes to the bathroom and Brooke looks at.
Well, no, the girl ordered a vodka drink that wasn't his vodka he sold.
Oh.
And I said, look, you sell 100 vodkas. I know this because we just had the discussion. And how is she ordering a vodka that's from a different distributor? Like, that's just rude. I mean, and frankly, he's using his corporate card to buy the drink at his account. You can't buy another distributor's drink. That's just not what you do.
This is why I love this show so much.
In the business.
So she goes to the bathroom, and then Brooke basically says,
I was like this.
I know you're new at dating, but you and that chippy, it isn't gonna work out. I'm gonna place a bet with you, and that we were going to the British Virgin Islands in a couple of weeks, and she goes, I'm gonna bet you that when you guys get back, your relationship's gonna crash and burn. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't think we're gonna go out for a long time, but I think we'll be friends and we'll be fine. Like, it's no big deal. It wasn't that serious.
They're not friends.
So we get back from British Virgin Islands, and let's just say it was bad. So I go, Brooke, I don't know how you saw the crash and burn coming, but it did, and now I owe you dinner at Burns. So dinner at Burns was the wager. I had to pay because the relationship did end on a bad note. So that's when I said, we're going to Burns. Send her a meeting request, not even ask her, just like. And I had to move it once because one of our guys was having a retirement party on the original night, so I moved it.
Like, I can't go to this retirement party.
I moved it, and then we went to Burns, and then that was kind of where it very quickly became a relationship.
Oh my gosh, hold that thought because we have to go to a commercial break because I'm so excited. August 28th was the Burns date, right?
Correct.
Okay, wait and hold it. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
By highlighting each month's birthstone and educating on the unique qualities, we hope you'll share our passion of gemstones.
August birthstone is peridot. It's naturally colored olive to lime green. It's also the 16th anniversary stone. And the greener the peridot, the higher its value.
Ancient Egyptians called it the gem of suns and was worn by Cleopatra. To learn more about colored gemstones, follow us on social media.
Or come see them only at the Golden Diamond Source.
Thinking about getting engaged, planning to upgrade your wedding ring, or finally getting that Rolex?
The Golden Diamond Source can help you in many ways.
You can start a layaway plan for only 10% down and 6 monthly payments.
Take advantage of our 3 to 5 year interest-free financing.
Or you can trade in your old broken jewelry and use it towards a new purchase.
Come to the Golden Diamond Source and find that perfect gift for the ones that you love.
He was at our wedding. He dressed Craig for our wedding.
Welcome back to Love in America. I know we're always talking because we can't even stop talking during the commercial breaks. This is so much fun, and I'm dying to know. So, all right, finally, you guys go on the date. in
lost
August.
bet.
Yeah,
Lost
you
bet.
lost the
And-
bet, and you're taking her to dinner.
Right.
To
And we were at
Burns.
Burns, and this is you
And
know,
Burns happens to be, by the way, yes, Burns. We are talking about Burns.
Steak- yes, and Burns is my client for almost 13 years. They've been my client.
Congratulations.
So they were not my client at the time.
Oh.
But I was very friendly with a lot of the staff there. And our senior sommelier, Brad Dixon, who I'd known for a while, had just set up a dinner for me and one of the other men I was talking about for a group of people about 3 weeks prior to me going on this not date meeting request with Craig. So we walk in the lobby and Craig says, "Oh, I want you to meet my friend Brad." And I'm thinking to myself, wait till Brad turns around and sees that it's me. And I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything about anything. Because again, this is a lost a bet where it's not a date. But my friends were like, it's a date, it's a date. I'm like, I haven't been on a date in like a year. I don't even know what a date is. So we went to dinner and Brad's like, so Brad and Craig's back are to me standing in the lobby. And he's like, Brad, I want you to meet my friend Brooke. And Brad turns around and he's like, what the hell are you doing here? Exactly, like straight faced.
He's like, it's not a date.
Yeah.
No, I lost
Brad
the bet.
proceeds to bring like 85 Mondavi, champagne, which has become like kind of a joke between Brad. I mean, Brad and I are all very good friends, and Brad was at our wedding. So Brad likes to say he was our Cupid because he fueled the meeting request into a date. So thanks,
The
Burns.
wine.
And I joked when we got engaged, I did joke with our owner, with David, that I wanted to have our engagement party at Burns, and his face was like, we can't do that. And I was like, David, I'm totally messing with you, but I just want to see what you do. Anyway.
So that night, would you say that is when the flip was
Yes,
switched, though?
absolutely.
Okay, so when I look at him, yes, absolutely. How could you tell? What happened?
We just started talking. I mean, we were there for
He thought
3 hours.
he actually realized that was normal,
having conversation.
and I was drinking his product.
Yeah. It was our first time of like, you don't want something from me. Let's just talk.
I do remember I drank a glass of Chardonnay. I'm not a white wine drinker. And I thought to myself, like, why am I drinking this Chardonnay? This is like, I still think about it now. Like even Brad that night was like, you don't drink Chardonnay. I think because he like ordered white wine or something. I don't even remember, but I don't drink white wine.
And for you,
Unless it's French. Then I drink it.
of course. I mean,
Duh.
you know, anything French,
Right.
you know. So for you that night too.
Yeah,
There
no,
was something?
well, what was ironic too is that I had just won, this is pretty funny. I had just won Woman of the Year, so
Congratulations.
So I had for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, I'd raised like $60,000, and I had won an Audi, little convertible. And I remember we were in my Audi convertible. My girlfriend called me like after I'd like dropped him off, and she was like, how'd it go? And I was like, we went to Cheap after that. We ran into Tommy Ortiz, who again had known me through all the iterations of whoever I dated, and he knew Craig from the business. And we walked in the bar, and Tommy looks at both of us, kind of the same look Brad gave us, and was like,
you guys doing
what's
together?
going on? And he like buys us a drink, and he's like, I like this, I think. And I was like, everywhere we went, it sort of became that. And I think
That
so
people liked you guys
yeah,
together.
then they were like, oh, this seems to work. And I think subsequently we went on a couple other real dates at that point. He ended up wrecking his car like a month after we started dating. He takes the Audi convertible like to drive. So, and then I knew, I was like, wait a minute, like this has been about 3 weeks and something just felt different. And I remember calling my best friend and was like, something's different here. And she's like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. And it just was, it was different. I think it felt right. And I will tell this story too. We had a mutual friend, Jason Fernandez, who owns Bernini, and he is the only other person other than my mother that calls me Brooklyn. And so he's always been like a big brother to me. Well, they hated each other. And
just had a difference of
so
opinion,
he
put it
calls
that
me,
way.
this is about at the 3 week mark. We had said nothing to really anybody. We've been dating kind of quietly because again, we just didn't really want a lot of people in the industry to be like, what is going on? So we just kind of kept it sort of on the DL.
down low.
And he calls me, he's like, I heard something. I was like, what? He's like, Brooklyn, we need to talk. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, you're coming in for lunch. And I was like, whoa. So I went to his restaurant and he's like, so I understand that you're dating Craig Kuhl. And I was like, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it was dating. Like we've been out a few times. And he's like, yeah, well, you know what happened between us, right? And I was like, they got in a fight over like some vodka, of course.
Some
Whatever.
vodka.
And I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Jason. I'm like, yeah, we've been out a few times. I really like him. I think he really likes me. I'm like, and look, you're a brother to me, so we gotta figure this out. You gotta bury the hatchet. I'm not saying you gotta sell all his product, but if we're gonna keep dating, like you're a big part of my life. And he's like, all right. So he called him. They went to lunch, and they're like BFF.
Buried the hatchet, yeah.
You're kidding.
No,
Not
just
even
like that. And now
he literally called me
we
from
see each other, big hugs.
No,
and,
he
yeah.
called me from Greece last week on my birthday. Called Craig from Europe or Turkey, and called me from Greece. Yeah, like he's.
So look at that. You guys found love
So,
and
but
mended a
people,
relationship.
but again, I think Jason was like, I like, I like you happy. I like this for maybe this is a good thing. Maybe you can make him better.
So people always saw you guys like as a great
I don't
couple,
know.
but it took
Maybe.
but it took quite a few years.
Yeah, we almost broke
Yeah.
up. Like
Before you
after our
proposed.
first year together, we almost broke up. We went to Atlantis to sort of like see if we were gonna like save the relationship. I think because for him it had been a year, and he was like, I just don't know if I want to get married again. I don't want kids. Like I don't know. This is like you're younger. I just don't know if this is what you want. And we kind of were like, well, maybe we should just give it a shot. And here we are.
and
So,
stay together.
I dragged my feet for a little
He did
while.
drag his
So you did for several years.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, and you and Brooke, through this time, were you patient with it, or were you beginning to get impatient?
No, I don't think I ever got impatient. I think at the time, before he proposed, we had 2 dogs or 3 dogs. We had 3 cars. We were living together. I'm like, well, maybe this is what it is. Like we were very stable in our relationship, and I understood that he was married before. And for him, it wasn't necessarily about getting married. And for me, it really wasn't either. Yeah, I'm like a traditional Catholic and all that, but we were happy, and I was like, well, maybe that's what it is for me. Like maybe that's
Your
the card
journey.
that's the card I've been dealt. But then
Brooke was very patient. Her mother was not so patient.
we went
Share
to
that
buy.
story.
We went to buy. We went to buy a house together.
And how long in? Because I want to hear the story about your mom. But how long had you been dating before you decided
It
to
was
move in
November.
together?
Well, we decided to buy a house in. Well, we started looking for houses in about I'd say like June or July of 2012, and he just said to me.
How long had you been dating at that point, though?
At that point, we'd been dating 4 years.
Okay.
And
We
he
were
said to
kind of
me-
living together because she lived in St. Pete, I lived in Tampa, so we still had 2 places.
But he was really
spent
living
most of
with
our time
together.
together.
Yeah. So we said, look, we should buy something together. That would be good for us. Maybe we should look in Tampa because you work over there so much and blah, 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 blah. So some people have beach condos. We have a city condo. It works out for us. And we didn't have kids, so we were like, okay. So what was interesting and unbeknownst to me, normally, like my family, my mother would have like thrown her hands up and been like, this is no way. Like you're not doing that. Like I'm not buying a town, whatever. But she was really into it. And I didn't really get it, but I was like, okay, I guess she really likes Craig. I don't know. She always calls him her favorite child anyway, so whatever. That is a true fact.
Only because I don't ask for money.
But long story short, she really got into it. And I remember we found the house, and she was totally all in. I was like, wow, this is like really fast. And I was like, we were at Home Depot, and I remember calling her. I'm like, Mom, you got to come down here and like help me with paint colors. Like he's picking out like this ugly blue. Like I can't do this. So she flew down the next weekend, and we like did everything to renovate the house. Well, unbeknownst to me, we closed on my house on November 17th. He proposed to me on November 22nd.
Wow.
Which is our dog's birthday.
Which is your dog's birthday.
So you
Okay.
want the story of how I decided
Yes,
to propose. So
yes.
in the Palmer house, Thanksgiving is the biggest holiday. They have in the neighborhood of 30 to 40 people over their house. It's now into the 3rd generation. So it's a big deal. And after dinner, everyone goes around the table and talks about what they're thankful for. Her mom and dad go last. And so her mom went last that year and just said, I'm thankful for my friends and family and this and that. And I'm thankful for my 3 daughters and my son-in-law, Scott. And then she looks at me and goes, Craig, this is your last year here unless you do something about this. Make this relationship solid.
This is for Thanksgiving.
And I was like, in front of 40 people.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, okay. So we went to, one of her friends got married this next June up in Atlanta at the Fox Theater, which is beautiful. And I don't know, I just said, it's time to.
Maybe I can do this.
I got to, in fairness to her,
Yeah.
because again, I'd been married, she hadn't. I'm like, I either have to do it or don't do it. So I'm like, I'm in, I'm doing it. So I said, let's go up. We fly up to go visit her parents late summer. I asked for her hand in marriage. So the next Thanksgiving comes.
Hence why Nancy was bought into the condo. I didn't realize.
So the next Thanksgiving goes around.
Oh, and Julie and Steve got in on the whole thing
yeah,
too,
of
obviously.
course.
Julie and Steve Weintraub, who the Golden Diamond Source and sponsors of the show.
So we're on to next Thanksgiving, and everyone goes around the table, talks about what they're thankful for. Well, they arranged for me to go last this year. So my father had just passed. So I'm like, thankful my father's in heaven.
And his mother was there.
And my mother was there. And then I go, you know what I'd really be thankful for? And then I dropped down to my knee in front of 40 people, and I opened the Golden Diamond Source ring. And she freaked out.
Oh my gosh. So you were surprised.
Stunned, because we hadn't looked at rings. Now, the reason why this ring looks the way it does is because I did Steve and Julie's Christmas party for several years, and the year prior, we were cleaning up, and this ring setting was in one of the things, we were taking all the jewelry out and putting the boxes away, and I was like, Steve, if I ever get married, I want it to look like this. And Julie remembered. Thank God Steve and Julie don't drink, because I don't remember this conversation happening. And to be honest, I hadn't really even drank that night either, but I don't remember that happening. Well, it did, because I do remember that these settings at the time, there was a designer called Peter Storm, and their settings were red. I do remember that part. So, but I was like, Julie, wasn't I liking all of it? She was like, no, you had that one on. Anyway, I guess Craig called Steve, and they went over to see Steve and Julie, and Julie said, Julie told me the story after the fact, but I guess she had 4 diamonds laid out, and he walked in, and she pushed 2 of them to the side. She's like, it's this one or this one?
It was he was 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4 carat.
And so then he's like, well, I'm just going to get that one and put on a band. She's like, oh, no, not for my princess. You're not putting it on a band. It is a plain band? No, she's not plain. We'll handle that. Let me just handle that. He didn't even know that it was going to be in this setting until he went and picked up the ring.
What a romantic story.
So then I get the ring, and I remember when he opened the box, I swear this, and I tell this story all the time, I thought to myself, thank you, Julie and Steve, when the box opened. So then she was the first person I called, and she's like, we have been waiting all day for you to call us. And Steve, she's like, I would look at Steve, has she called you yet? Has she called you yet? Because they knew what time it was happening, so they kept waiting, they were watching the phone for me to call. And then I called, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Julie, how'd you know? And then she told me the story about the Christmas party, and I was like, so then, again, not to get on Julie and Steve fan club, but when I went to pick out our wedding bands, Julie thought, it would be best if it fit the ring like mine does. And so my wedding gift from Julie and Steve was one of the bands, and the other band Craig got me, but this was from them because she felt like they always wanted to be with me.
So only her parents knew I was going to propose. So the other 35 people in the room all freaked out. Her sister's crying.
Yeah, nobody knew.
Just
well, my older sister had an inkling because my parents were so old school. My mom called my older sister and said to bring her good camera.
You guys.
My older sister's like, wait a minute. So.
That is such a totally cool story. Can you believe we are out of time? And we didn't even get a chance to talk about the wedding and how you plan the wedding. So, Brooke Palmer, I would like to invite you back on a Dating in America and talk about perfect weddings and what to do to have your perfect wedding.
There is no perfect wedding.
There is no perfect. We're going to end with that. There is no perfect wedding. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I know it goes so fast. You have to come back on another show because we have to do a whole other show again on the wedding. If you have a couple that you would like to recommend for Love in America, or if you'd like to be on the show, or if you're dating and you would like to come on Dating in America, please send us an email, or also for On the Record. Also share this show because we love sharing positive news and sharing things about love. We're also on Roku with other big announcements coming soon. Again, Craig Kuhl, Brooke Palmer, you both, again, totally cool. Bye, everybody. Stay safe.
Nearly 4 decades, and is one of the largest family-owned jewelry stores in America.
We have the largest selection of white and fancy colored diamonds and gemstones you'll find anywhere.
We also have private areas for VIP viewings.
Only at the Golden Diamond Source.